Hello everybody, welcome to History Tree House. I am your host, Miss Susie. Welcome to the third and last video in my three-part series on Yuletide in the country at Genesee Country Village and Museum. If you did not see the first two videos, I will put a link below and there should be a link above as well, over here. I think that's right. Today is definitely a hot chocolate and a Genesee Country Village and Museum mug. If you didn't see my last video, these mugs are made right in the historic village at Genesee Country Village and Museum, and they are signed on the bottom, and you can buy these online as well. I will put a link down below to their website. So today's video, I had a visit with Saint Nick, not a visit from Saint Nick. A little play on words there. After we learn the history of Saint Nick, there is a very special presentation of the 19th century poem by Clement C. Moore entitled A Visit from St. Nicholas, or more commonly known as The Night Before Christmas. And there just may be a special appearance by the man himself. If you want to just go straight to the presentation and watch that with your children later, I'll put a timestamp below so that you can go right to the beginning. I hope you enjoyed these first three videos on my channel. I have a lot more coming. There's a lot of history to discover and a lot of people in our family trees to discover. Until then, I hope that you all have a blessed Christmas and a happy New Year. I am here at the MacArthur House with Brian. Well, no, it's not Brian, it's Saint Nick. Saint Nick, I would love to know a little bit more of the history of how the whole tradition of Saint Nicholas began. How far does it go back?
Go back to the 4th century, actually. Nicholas of Myra, an actual Catholic saint in what's now modern-day Turkey. He's actually celebrated more by the Greek Orthodox Church now, but he's a bishop with a long robe and a hat and so forth, a bishop's hat, made famous by, theoretically, supposedly, giving out gold coins to children specifically. There's a story of giving the dowry for a young woman, throwing the coins through a window into a house, having the coins land in someone's shoes, and therefore you hear a lot of stories about either shoes or stockings being the place where you're going to see St. Nicholas providing gifts to the folks. And from there the legend grows from an actual St. Nicholas who gave out gifts to the poor, the patron saint of children and sailors apparently, to what we know for St. Nicholas, Santa Claus, Father Christmas, later on in Europe, in Belgium and France and Germany, Holland and so forth.
Wow, and so there was a change in this image of St. Nicholas into Santa Claus as we know it. Did it change in the 19th century at some point?
It changes in the 19th century with Clement Clark Moore, descriptions of Santa Claus in America, of St. Nick. Certainly as the Europeans come over to settle, to immigrate to America, the Dutch are bringing over Santa Claus with them, St. Nicholas.
What time period was that?
1620s you're going to see, 1640s, others coming over here as well. The Dutch are some of the earliest settlers in New York State, all across the state and elsewhere. The French coming over, certainly the Germans coming over. They're sharing their stories of St. Nicholas, who appears on a white horse coming into homes in Belgium and Holland, France as well. He's wearing long robes, that the bishop's hat once again, and children are leaving their shoes out, either on the front porch, the front stairs, or if they're living in an apartment outside with hay for the horses, for his horse, a carrot perhaps, a piece of sugar, and then they're putting the gifts, fruit, toys, candy, into the shoes for the children to have. Eventually that story comes over to America, and the story of Santa Claus or St. Nicholas comes in. Certainly in Europe, and then in America, the Dutch are celebrating, others too, St. Nicholas Day, which is December 6th. St. Nicholas Eve is the 5th. They're putting out their shoes and stockings in some cases out the evening of the 5th, and St. Nicholas comes through on the morning after on his white horse to pass out goods for the children.
Oh, so it wasn't actually a Christmas Day or Christmas Eve tradition then. It was earlier in the month.
Yes, for St. Nicholas Day it was December 6th. A lot of folks coming over were then adapting to what Americans are celebrating as Christmas Eve and Santa Claus coming for that. Thomas Nast, a cartoonist in the 19th century, was drawing images of St. Nicholas, and Clement Clark Moore is using some of that information or certainly other images of St. Nicholas. So they had that jolly old elf with the red clothes, the ashes and soot and so forth. I'm dressed today more like what you might see St. Nicholas be in George Washington's time in the 1770s and 1780s. I'm wearing the knee breeches with stockings, buckle shoes, and the coat I'm wearing is cut so it can show off the buttons here on my waistcoat as well. So I'm dressed as you might appear in the later part of the 18th century during that time period.
Did that continue through into the 19th century, this type of dress, and change at some point?
Up to a certain point in time, and when Nast starts drawing St. Nicholas or Santa Claus, and certainly Clement Clark Moore's poem, A Visit from St. Nicholas, is going to give you that look of St. Nicholas with the white fur trim and the glasses and the pipe and so forth that you'll see described in some places, and then Thomas Nast developing that look of the rosy red cheeks, the cherry nose, the droll little mouth, and the white beard as well.
Which you have. He has a wonderful beard, very natural. When we think of Santa Claus, are there countries nowadays that still consider this to be Santa Claus or St. Nicholas?
You're going to see people celebrating St. Nicholas Day, still thinking of St. Nick coming in the long robes. You'll see stories of people showing that in Europe today, in Holland, in France, in Belgium, Father Christmas probably in England, Great Britain, and so forth. You're going to see our Santa Claus primarily in America, but you'll see that now become universal with the red suit, the black belt, the black boots, and so forth. Which really is a St. Nicholas or Santa Claus. And certainly people are celebrating in this country New Year's much more often. The Scots, for example, with Hogmanay and other celebrations, the New Year being a big part of that. Christmas comes in usually in the 1840s, late 40s, 50s, as being a big celebration. Clement Clark Moore, though, writing that poem in the 1820s. So the story starts to grow. And certainly flying reindeer are only an American tradition. Other places in the world, it's just either a walking reindeer rather, or a donkey. You're thinking something like that coming in with St. Nick or Santa Claus.
I kind of like the idea of flying reindeer.
They come out.
Yeah. Well, I thank you so much, Brian, St. Nick, for sharing with us a little bit of the history of St. Nick and what that was like in the 19th century and how we came to know the man that we know today and how that started. So thank you so much.
It was my pleasure, and happy or Merry Christmas to you.
Yes, Merry Christmas to you too.
"'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads. And Mama in her kerchief and I in my cap had just settled down for a long winter's nap. When out on the lawn there arose such a clatter, I sprang from my bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters and threw up the sash. The moon on the breast of the new-fallen snow gave a luster of midday to objects below, when what to my wondering eyes should appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer. With a little old driver so lively and quick, I knew in a moment it must be St. Nick. More rapid than eagles his coursers they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Donder and Blitzen. To the top of the porch, to the top of the wall, now dash away all. as dry leaves before the wild hurricane fly when they meet with an obstacle mount to the sky. So up to the housetop the coursers they flew, with a sleigh full of toys, and St. Nicholas too. And then in a twinkling I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof. As I drew in my head and was turning around, down the chimney St. Nicholas came with a bound. He was dressed all in fur, from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. A bundle of toys he had flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his pack. His eyes, how they twinkled, his dimples, how merry. His cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard on his chin was as white as the snow. The stump of a pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke it encircled his head like a wreath. He had a broad face and a little round belly that shook when he laughed, like a bowl full of jelly. He was chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf, and I laughed when I saw him in spite of myself. A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work and spilled all the stockings, then turned with a jerk, and laying his finger aside of his nose and giving a nod up the chimney he rose. He sprang to his sleigh, to his team gave a whistle, and away they all flew like the down of a thistle. But I heard him exclaim ere he drove out of sight, "Merry Christmas to all, and to all good night."